Hello, everybody, and welcome to Bottom Line with Roni and Byron. We have a lot of news to give you today, and we're going to get right to it. But first, we'll tell you a sneak preview. We're going to start with the vandalism of the transmitter equipment for the WJHG television station.
And then in national news, we'll talk about how gas prices are sky high, and Bank of America warns that prices of oil will go up to $120 a barrel.
And then we'll switch to sports and talk about some volleyball, high school football, as well as college football.
And in entertainment, we'll talk about Kanye West's new look. He shaved off his eyebrows.
And then we'll switch to our relationship tea topic. How well do you balance life, work, and play? So we'll get to it right now, Byron. The first topic, we'll talk about the vandalism of the transmitter equipment at WJHG this week. The system was down for a couple of days, and what happened was someone actually went out and violated, or I should say, vandalized their equipment. One of the employees, Byron, went outside and noticed a man outside, and he told him that he worked for Tyndall Air Force Base, and he was outside checking the equipment, but that was not the case. He was actually bringing harm and damage to all the equipment. So your station was down too, right?
Yeah, it really got up under my skin because it was right in the middle of a Sunday night football game. It was halftime, and I was not pleased. It makes you wonder though. They knew exactly what lines to cut, because I was confused. I was like, it wiped out not just channel 7, but I think it was 18 as well. So it was like, did they take out the whole daggum satellite? What did they do? And that was wild. I think they got to step up their security.
Well, Byron, it looks like there was about 8 channels that were affected, because that's just they distribute to those 8. So it was like the CW channel, the NBC, CBS, My Network, Circle Network, IonNet, DabbleNet, Heroes and Icons Network. So all of those networks were affected, and it took them a while to get it up. They, I guess, spent all day Monday working on it, and then they had it back up running on Tuesday. But they're looking for the suspect. Like I said, one of the employees went outside and saw the guy. So, and also he's on video, and you can actually see the video on their Facebook page, WJHG Facebook page, and watch him. But they're looking for him. They describe him as a white male. He had on a dark jacket and a camouflage pants. So they're looking for him, white male. If you see anybody that fits that description, and go on Facebook and look at the video and see if you know the person. And if you do, make sure you give them a call at 850-747-4700, 850-747-4700, and let law enforcement know what you know. But yeah, that was a lot.
yeah,
that was a lot. And so, Byron, we'll move on to the Baptist College of Florida, right there in Graceville. They've made a big announcement, actually a couple of big announcements this past week. They are actually going to change the name of the college to the Florida Baptist University. And the reason they're doing that is because they're doing an expansion. They currently have a location in Graceville, which is their North Florida location. They already have one in Central Florida, and that city is actually in, Lakeland. They have one in Lakeland, but now they're about to open one in South Florida in Hialeah. And so that's going to be the 3rd location. And because they're expanding, they've decided to use the destination called University. They've already been eligible for it. They just kind of waited till they, made some more plans of expansion, and now they're ready. So they will become the Florida Baptist University. They also decided, I shouldn't say decided, but the president, Thomas Kitchen, he announced his plans for retirement. And he decided that he's going to retire in December of 2022, Byron. So kudos to the Baptist College of Florida, which will eventually be Florida Baptist University. What you think about that?
So that makes me wonder, like with most universities, they'll have like the one, I guess you could say, main branch, and then they'd have different, where kind of like with Panama City and different areas. So will Graceville be that?
The main branch?
Yeah.
It seems like Graceville is the main branch. And then, like I said, their second location is in Lakeland, and then they just approved for the third location in Hialeah, in South Florida. So that's pretty good. Pretty good. They did that last week. So yeah.
Okay.
But Thomas A. Kitchen, and it seems like he's been there a while, and someone who knows this, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he was there for the startup of the university, which was in 2000, I think. So if you guys have any information on that, please let us know to make sure we're giving out the right information. But regardless, I think he's been there a while, and he is looking to retire. And he said he has no immediate plans to retire, which is why he's waiting until next year, because he wants to see the university through all of these changes that they're making, like the expansion and the changing of the name. So he'll, see that through before he retires. So kudos to him. And then I do want to mention also locally, we've had a new Little Miss Jackson County. Miss Jade Gibson is the current, or I should say the newly crowned Little Miss Jackson County. I know you're wondering, there's no recent pageant, but you're right, there was no recent pageant. What has happened is the previous Little Miss Jackson County, she won Little Miss National Peanut last month. And the rule is, if you win, then your crown goes to the first runner-up. And the first runner-up for Little Miss Jackson County was Jade Gibson. And so she is the new Little Miss Jackson County. They crowned her actually at Farmhouse Chick on Tuesday night. And so Byron, it's, Little Miss Peanut was, I think, a month ago. Let's see. Yeah.
Little Miss Peanut was a month ago, and we just now crowning Miss Jaden this past Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, that we got to step up our
gotta do better.
Response, our response time with that one.
Yeah, gotta do better. But yeah, so but I will say it seems like Little Miss Jade Gibson is the first African-American Little Miss Jackson County. I think that, that deserves a round of applause. So congratulations, Jade. And she is a part of the NAACP. Byron, she used to be Little Miss NAACP. So she's had several titles already: Little Miss Pink Cares, Little Miss Panama City, Little Miss NAACP, Little Miss Three Rivers. Actually, it was Tiny Miss Pink Cares, but that's how she started. But she's been in pageants, so she's pretty good. Yeah,
I'm glad you mentioned that. So let that show and let that be known that products of the Jackson County NAACP Youth Council and products of this organization don't just do things within the organization, but it spans beyond that.
That's right.
I've just recently stepped in and became a youth advisor for the Jackson County NAACP Youth Council, and we're moving slow, but we're trying to step up. But we cannot do it without parents. We cannot do this and run this organization without the parents involved. And if you're engaged in your community and you want to build future leaders, future community leaders and activists, then you need to bring them and be a part of this organization. But it's not effective and it's not as strong without your engagement and without your input. Once again, and I do things a different way, but it's not going to be a daycare center. This is something that community driven and it's warranted. So kudos to Little Miss Peanut Festival in Jackson County, Miss Jaden. Shouts out, just keep doing bigger and better things, and it's gonna follow. She's awesome young woman, and it's gonna just continue to grow.
Yeah, and she's very active. She's also in Girls of Pearls, Girl Scouts, and she does competitive cheer. So she's very active, and third grader at Mariana K8, and she wants to be a first grade teacher when she grows up. So very good. But she is the daughter of Kawandra and Andre Gibson from Mariana. So again, congratulations, Miss Jade. Yeah. All right, I want to move on to some state news. We have the Pfizer who has approved the vaccine for the age group of 5 to 11, Byron. And that basically is going to be out pretty soon. The health department will be receiving vaccinations pretty soon as well. So I'm told 100 children's hospitals will have it, pharmacists, pediatricians, temporary clinics, in the communities as well as schools will also carry the vaccine for the age group 5 to 11. What do you think? Because you have kids in that age group, Byron.
Yeah, so for all that don't know, I know I did it last week, but I gotta apologize again. I'm calling and making apologies to a lot of people because I've been incognito for a while. Our family got hit with the COVID bug as well as strep, sinus infection, and it's been back to back to back. I'm recovering. But yeah, our intent was to get my oldest, which is 12, to get him vaccinated, but unfortunately he got the COVID, so we have to wait 90 days, and then get the younger ones vaccinated. So now we're at that point where I can get 3 and I gotta wait for 2. So we'll ride it out best way we can, but they did get their flu shots. So if that's another one, people don't forget about getting those flu shots, because this is that time of the year, it's that season.
Yeah. I just got mine on Tuesday.
Yeah, the peanuts are being cropped and that dust is out there. So saline, Mucinex, do what you got to do. Humidifiers. Hey, we've been, we've been working steadfast at it. So yeah, but I'm it's good news to see. So I'm hoping somewhere around the beginning of the spring, like January, February time frame. Hopefully people the ball will really start rolling and getting these vaccines kind of like at a good level,
Yeah, hopefully. But these vaccines for the kids, I mean, they're popping them out like, probably the first of next week. I mean, they're ready to start just issuing them out. And it's good to see. I saw that they were that this is being supported by like the American Academy of Pediatricians, American Medical Associations, all of the pediatricians organizations are supporting this. So that's good to see and to know. But it does say that through a company study that I think they tested like 2,500 kids, and it's 90% effective against the infection. So that's good to know as well. Mm-hmm. Very good. And so that's, I want to bring this to you. Our local and state news is brought to you by Brightway Insurance. You have to check out TD Horn and his team. They offer life insurance, auto insurance, property insurance, as well as business insurance. They're located in Marianna on Caledonia Street, and you should reach out to them at 850-633-3460. Again, that's Brightway Insurance. Byron, I'm going to hit on this real quick. I know we've talked about this in the past, but Washington County may be looking at becoming a wet county. That Advanced Washington group, they got enough petitions, and it's going to be on the November 23rd ballot to vote whether or not to have alcohol sales in Washington County. What do you think about that?
I'll tell you, keep your eyes on Washington County. Washington County, a lot of people are sleeping on Washington County, but it's a lot of growth, a lot of right doing when it comes to how they're trying to align themselves with the marketing structure of what Bay County is doing. So pay attention. Washington County is stepping up. So this is just one of those progressive moves that they're doing in order to kind of capture some of that tourism that is going down into Bay County.
Yeah. They actually needed like 4,300 signatures on the petition, and then like a month ago they were short like 1,000. So apparently they got that 1,000, and it's not without opposition, because there are some that are coming out saying that they are concerned that if chains, the big chains start popping up on the interstate, that they'll take away from the small businesses in Chipley. So there's concern about that. There's some opposition. So don't think it's not with opposition.
Yeah, but that's something that, and we deal with that a lot in Jackson County. But the thing is, and I'll say this and that'll be it. When it comes to an economy, it's the same fashion as if you look at it from a singular standpoint. You want, as a person, in order to have a robust nest egg, you want to have your hands in a little bit of everything, into real estate, into stocks, into bonds, into 401ks, not just having your hands, what they say, diversify your portfolio. Well, it runs the same way into a local economy. You can't just have one industry. You can't just have one business or 2 or 3 businesses. You got to have it different hands in the pot to have it robust. That's their structure and how they want Washington County to go. But at the same time, you got to look at it that you're letting money within your community go outside as well. Folks leave Washington County to go buy alcohol, so why not keep that money in-house? People are going to come elsewhere to spend money within those same communities. I can't tell you how many times I've been somewhere, and I like to go places authentic. So yes, I may go to a place that may have a Ruby Tuesdays or a chain restaurant, but then I want to go to that one place that I seen on Dinner Dive In and Dives or something like that. There was a small hometown restaurant that had their one signature dish or something like that, and I want to get that experience. So it's 2 sides of that coin. You can look at it one that way, and you can also look at it as the glass half full.
Yeah, that makes sense. Did you know that Washington County was one of 3 counties in the state of Florida that was a dry county?
I did not know that.
It's only 3. So it's Washington County, Liberty County, and then Lafayette.
Out of 69 counties? That's
67 counties. There's 3 left. So, so this alcohol sales referendum will be on the November 23rd ballot for Washington County. So if you live in Washington County, you will see that on your ballot, and you have an opportunity to vote yes or no. So again, the local and state news was brought to you by Brightway Insurance, located in Marianna at 2867 Caledonia Street. Again, they offer property insurance, life insurance, auto insurance, as well as business insurance. So give TD Horn and his team a shout. Call them at 850-633-3460. They're open Monday through Friday from 9 to 5 and on Saturdays by appointment only. We have for national news, Byron.
So before I begin in national news, I want to talk about People's Funeral Home. People's Funeral Home, because we care, we're here when you need us. Long Granbury Funeral Services Incorporated, doing business as People's Funeral Home. Marianna and Battle Mortuary, Panama City, offers services that's within the reach of all. Our caring staff is available 24/7 when the need arises, and our services are designed to commemorate the life being remembered at a price suitable for all. Give Cephas and Gwen a call at 850-482-2233, or simply stop by for more information as People's Funeral Home. So I'm going to get into a little local economy kind of breakdown. So the Fed pulls back economic aid in face of rising uncertainties. So the current Federal Reserve Chair, Jerome Powell, he basically saying if you find it a bit confusing, so does he. At a highly anticipated news conference, Powell, he said that the Fed was sticking by its bedstruck economic forecast. COVID-19 will eventually fade, which in turn will enable supply chain bottlenecks to unsnarl. More people will return to the workforce, the economy will strengthen, and inflation pressures will ease. This is the mindset in which they're going with. But over the past few weeks, he's kind of dialed back, and basically is saying that they don't know what's going to happen. Right now, the economy is kind of sitting back and trying to see what the American people are going to do. What people have to understand is America is not America what we knew pre-COVID-19, pre-pandemic. It's a different day. Even our kids and society and everything has changed. It's a different day that you're walking into. People are not jumping back into the workforce as we thought. Hence is why everything is so affected. Lumber is affected what I've been wanting to add on to my home, but it's going to cost me just as much as it did to build my home in order to add 2 rooms to it. And that's because of the labor shortage at these lumber yards. And then you've got other issues that is all, kind of tied into one. He made a statement. He said, we hope to achieve significantly greater clarity about where this economy is going and what the characteristics of the post-pandemic economy are over the first half of the next year. But at the same time, people who are living paycheck to paycheck or seeing higher grocery costs and higher gasoline costs. So they understand completely what people are going through. So in the meantime, the Fed said that it will begin to try to counter those inflation pressures by reducing its $120 billion in monthly bond purchases. So they did these purchases to try to bring down the interest rates. And so those purchases, they launched last summer. They've been intended to hold down that interest rate and to spur borrowing and spending with the economy recovering, but Powell saying they aren't needed. The Fed could alter that pace of its tapering in a statement, but it might, for example, accelerate the reduction if inflation worsens. So it's one of those tedious things that's going on where they're hoping that people will get back to work and everything will start rolling. But I think that as far as with the middle class, a lot of people with the stimulus checks, with a lot of time being home and not spending so much on gas, a lot of people are venturing out and starting their own businesses. And I think that is kind of slowing the process of people going back to the workforce so quickly. And so sad to say, you have to kind of wait it out and see who sticks with it and who, get back at it. But right now, the Fed is still in hopes, but they're saying that we don't have to worry about interest rates being raised until 2023, although Powell has kind of flirted with the idea of, it may kicking off June of 2022. So hopefully things will pick up in January. And I know everybody, what the economy tries to do is look at the holiday season, Christmas, and see how people spend to dictate how well the economy is doing. So it's kind of one of those tricky things because you don't know if people are still spending stimulus money or money that they've earned and worked, and that is why people are spending. So we'll see how that turns out. That gives me a good segue to my next story. So the gas prices are sky high, and Bank of America warns that $120 a barrel for oil is on the way. So as everybody knows, everyday Americans, we're getting hammered with gas prices. I personally gotten to the point where I don't even look at the gas price. I just fill it up.
Just fill it up, right?
And just
and you won't get stressed out.
Yeah, just make it a gas bill. It's another. I look at it as another bill, like a light bill, or the satellite internet. I just look at it as another bill. So
have you pinpointed the cheapest prices here in Jackson County? I know I always go to McCoy's is cheap, and then the one on South Street, I can't think of the name of it. The gas station right at South Street and Orange Street. They tend to. My husband said the gas lasts longer too from those two places. So that's what he says. Yeah. Well,
hey, I'll be honest. I don't even look anymore. But I recognize when my dad started, fussing about it. But it gets me to another point, and I'll address it at the end. But I'll get back on the story. So gas prices have surged to a 7-year high, at an estimate of $3.40 a gallon nationally. But you've got places like Nevada, Washington State, and Oregon that are flirting with $4 a gallon. So this has been, I remember that $5 a gallon, craze that happened a good little while back. And
they look like GPAs.
Nobody wants to go. Yeah,
4.0.
No, that's the one time I want to be failing. I want that 1.0.
1 point.
Yeah, that $1. It ought to be a $1 gas party. That was back in high school days when gas was that low. But Bank of America is now predicting that Brent crude oil, which drives gas prices, will zoom to $120 a barrel by June 22. That's a 45% higher level than the current levels. It's very easy for these prices to shoot up when demand conditions are tight, like they are now. Francisco Blanche, that's Bank of America's head of global commodities, has stated. Blanche has been an outspoken oil bull, predicting in June that crude oil would eventually surge to $100 a barrel. Back then, people thought we were crazy. Now we are. So they're basically saying that these oil prices are being backed from recent highs. It's another, just like the previous story, the economy is kind of waning. Well, the oil companies are doing the same thing because they know it's a high demand, but what does that high demand mean for them? When they notice that people are spending more money and are at a constant, because in economics, you got something that's called elasticity. So when something such as gas, something that people need, no matter what, you're going to buy it. It's called inelastic. So when something such as gas, if prices go up and people aren't spending as much, then they realize, okay, we have to bring it down a little bit. But if people are spending and it's no problem, then they'll keep it where it is, which
Does that pertain to
we've
food
all
too?
dreamed that we would get back to well, see, gas affects food because everything is being transported by our trucks now. It used to be way back in the day, trains transported all the goods, but now you have the trucking industry. So hence, if gas prices go up, trucking companies are going to charge more to move that product. And as we know, businesses are not going to take a loss. So they're going to charge more for that food or for whatever that product is, whether it's dish detergent, whether it's candles, whatever it is, everything goes up. So in essence, oil really directly affects our economy, even when it comes to stamps, because stamps and mail gets distributed how, by people driving around in those in the cars and the mail trucks. So people kind of gotta, it's a watchful eye, and they're kind of sitting back. Now President Biden, he is kind of flirting with the idea of wanting to go and tap into the SPR, which is the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. It's a stockpile that the America has, and he's kind of trying to. What he said is that we think that the Biden administration is prepared to release crude. That want to do that, but in doing so, the Blanche is saying that it'll be a minor impact on the prices unless they do a massive release. It won't kill the rally, but he questioned the rationale for tapping the SPR now, because normally that stockpile has been reserved for like break the glass moments, like a war or hurricanes, where we really gotta help the people and get them down to $1 a gallon, because it's so much that's went on, and when things kind of level out, gas will get back to where it is. It's not one of those things that's warranted when it's just economy soars. We're trying to see when people just gonna get back to work. So the SPR is there for emergencies and negative supply stocks. Blanche said, he said you don't release SPR oil because demand is going up since you printed a lot of money and gave it to people. So yeah, that goes back to that, that goes back to that last, statement. When you print money, the dollar goes down, and at the same time, he's like, hey, you decided to print more money. It's not used to go off into that reserve for that. So that was a good point. So gas, how the Fed, the interest rates is all tied into one thing. So we kind of, and so that's another thing. We don't know. They're trying to kind of see that, will people start to move towards electric vehicles? I can tell you personally, if gas go up to $6-7 a gallon, I'll be the first one to buy me an electric car, because I can't do it, So that's another thing. If people kind of go towards electric cars, then of course gas prices will probably go up then,
go up?
Yeah, I would think so, because then vehicles that run off of fuel would to me would turn into almost like a what would you call it, like a vintage car or something like that. People wouldn't, if America just all of a sudden just started to dive into electric vehicles, because that's the goal, is to get America not so dependent on oil, because the biggest, largest oil reserves in the world are not in the US.
Right.
So we don't want to be dependent on that. But if that starts to happen, then that will drive folks to go more electric, and then you'll probably see more production of electric vehicles, and that'll change the dynamic. So I think they're just trying to wait it out and see what people will do. So in my next story, suicide rates have declined again in 2020, but not for all groups, CDC reports show. So in the early days of the pandemic, there were fears that the anxiety, isolation, and financial uncertainties would lead to a large rise in suicide. Instead, after 2 decades of rising suicide rates in the US, the number of deaths by suicide has declined in 2020 for the second year in a row, according to preliminary federal data published Wednesday. However, that data is kind of skewed. So the overall suicide rate among women declined 8% between 2019 and 2020 by 2%, among men overall. Among younger Americans, suicide rates increased slightly in all groups ages 10 to 34, although the only significant increase was a 5% uptick among 25 to 34-year-olds. But when you delve into Black and Hispanic, that data kind of gets more in detail. So white
So what's the
suicide
bottom?
rates. So I'm getting to that. So white suicide rates went down, but Black and brown suicide rates went up, especially amongst females. And they went up as large as 23% and 30%, as well as Alaskan Americans and Native Americans. So one of these things, they don't know if it's attributed to people going back into society, because a lot of studies have said that, hey, it may be coming from the fact that a lot of people during the pandemic were together, and so those that may have suffered from suicide and wanted to delve into suicide attempts, because they had family all around them, it stifled that from happening, and then going back into society kind of brought that back out. So we don't know, and they're still trying to study what is the cause of these rates, but they definitely know that in these communities, it definitely has to be a larger focus on suicide and mental health in these Black and Latino communities. So
well, I was wondering, for kids, if it's the opposite, like the kids that were at home, Byron, they were not interacting with other kids or other people, and they became loners, and of course, when you're by yourself, idle minds, it just kind of run rapid sometimes, and unfortunately, bad thoughts and things happen. So I'm just wondering, for those kids, that time frame, they were home, they were isolated from other from their peers, and that may have had a negative impact as well.
Yeah, and that's another point that they made, that they haven't really delved into that data, as well as the data from LGBTQ communities as well, because they don't even know if those communities had a rise and a spike in suicide attempts and rates as well. So it's one of those things where, as a community, we definitely have to put a close eye on it. And that's one of those things with our local officials and within our municipalities that we have to bring some awareness to, especially in our school systems, because a lot of us we've lost those that have suffered and succumbed to suicide, but there's always signs, there's always triggers, and you never know what that may be. And for a lot of kids going back to school, especially those in that age range where they're trying to find themselves and they're trying to find their own identity, they go back to school, and like we all know, kids in school can be pretty harsh, pretty cruel.
Yeah,
and
cool. Yeah.
And if they came home from an environment where I could be myself, I can, I can have fun and enjoy who I am, and then I come back into an environment where I'm getting picked on and who I am is not enough anymore. And our kids have to deal with stuff different from what we had to. We didn't have social media. We didn't have every aspect of what we look at and what we engage in telling us who we're supposed to be and what we are and what we aren't. We kind of had the freedom of kind of figuring that out on our own, with the exception of maybe what we saw on TV. Right. So, and even with TV, we didn't have the reality shows. We had the shows that kind of gave us a model of how things should be. So, it's a lot of pressure. Yeah, it's a lot of pressure on young minds to soak up, and we got to give them that space, even if it's 30 minutes or an hour of clarity, or something where they could release their own thoughts to somebody that won't be judgmental to them.
Right, that's true.
So that's something that we definitely need to explore, because we want to make sure that we take care of home as well. So I'm gonna digress on that one. Yeah, but so national news. That was my segment on national news. The national segment was brought to you by People's Funeral Home, because we care. We're here when you need us. Long Granbury Funeral Services Incorporated, doing business as People's Funeral Home. Mariana and Battle Mortuary, Panama City, offers services that is within the reach of all. Our caring staff is available 24/7 when the need arises. Our services are designed to commemorate the life being remembered at a price suitable for all. Give Cephas and Gwen a call at 850-482-2233 or simply stop by for more information. As People's Funeral Home.
Good. So Byron, before we move on to sports, I know we have to move very quickly, but I want to hit on the Jackson County Board of County Commissioners because they met in another special meeting this week. This was their second one regarding redistricting. I wanted to bring everybody up to speed as what happened at that meeting. So this week, they actually tweaked the map that was basically submitted by Commissioner Clint Pate. It was the second map. They tweaked that, got the numbers, where they wanted them across the board, where they're pretty much, equal in all 5 districts. So that was, pretty much it. And then they also decided to request that the attorney, Michelle Blankenship Jordan, go before the courts and petition for Jackson County to be relieved from the consent decree. So they voted 5-0 for her to do that. So that's going to be interesting in itself, Byron, because you and I both know the courts are going to look at, what progress has been made since 1986. And that progress is 0 because in 1986, since then, they've only elected 2 African-Americans, one, Dr. Spires in District 1, and then, of course, Mr. Alex McKinney, also from District 1. So there's no other African-Americans that's been elected in Districts 2, 3, 4, 5 since 1986, not only in the county commissioners, but school board as well, only District 1, and that was in 2018. So there you go.
Yeah, so that's the standard. What is the standard that you made to go to disregard that minimum? And that's another point that I wanted to make to the people that understand that the consent decree is something that our leaders before us left as a bare minimum standard. Is it possible? Could Jackson County have more than one minority district? Yes. It's possible to have 2, 3 districts that are minority. Yes. But as a minimum, at least one, and District 1 has been historically that district. And so at least maintaining that is the standard. Now, back once again, if you wanted to deviate from that minimum standard, then what is the standard that you have set over time? And since the implementation of this consent decree, Ronnie just put it,
0.
Plain and clear, you've not superseded or you've not went above and beyond that to warrant
relief
regarding the whole the relief of it. So
you didn't do due diligence. You didn't do above and beyond. You didn't even do above, not beyond.
No, you didn't even meet. So you barely met it, and you're meeting it as a requirement. You know what I'm saying? So
not smart on their part. Not smart. Yeah, not smart. So, but I wanted people to be updated as that's where we are with the whole redistricting and the consent decree. So we'll keep you posted on as this story develops. Okay, so we'll move on to sports. We do have some sports actions to tell you about. We had some regional semifinal volleyball. We had 3 teams from this area to participate in the regional semifinals, and that happened on Tuesday night. Chipley lost to Central. They won 2 sets, Central won 3 sets. So Chipley is out. Central is a school out of Milton, Florida. Sneads did beat Cottondale in 3 straight sets. And then Bluntstown defeated Liberty County. They won the first set, lost the second set, and then came back and won sets 3 and 4. So they advanced to the regional finals. So Sneads and Bluntstown will play each other on Saturday in Sneads at 2:00. So if you're interested in seeing volleyball, that's going to be a good match. Sneads is 18-10 and Bluntstown is 16-11. So they both are some pretty strong teams. So they play each other. So that's it for volleyball. Then I'll move on to high school football. Mariana played last night. They played North Bay Haven. So Byron, I put that score up. That game was last night. And then on tonight, Sneads football team is at Liberty County, and that game starts at 6:30. Now Sneads beat Hamilton County last week 48-6. So we'll see how they do tonight. And then Cottondale is at Branford, and that game starts at 6:30. Do you know where Branford is?
Branford? No.
Yeah, Branford, Branford. That's who Cottondale played tonight. They're on the road. So never heard of it, but anyway, so that's where they are. And then they lost to Williston last week, 49-34. And then Graceville is at Weewha-Hitchcock. That game starts at 7 p.m. Graceville also lost last week to Franklin. And then Blountstown football team is home. They play Chiefland. Now that's going to be a good game because Chiefland is undefeated. And then, of course, Blountstown has only lost one game. And so they play also tonight. And then Chipley's homecoming is tonight. They play Jade at 7 o'clock. And then I'll move on to college football action. We have Georgia. Georgia beat Florida last week, Byron. 34-7. Yeah. So, and they were in Gainesville. So that was pretty good. But they host Missouri tomorrow at 11 a.m. That game will be on ESPN. And then Auburn is at Texas A&M. And that game is at 2:30 p.m. on CBS. The Georgia-Missouri game is on ESPN. So remember that. And then Miami hosts Georgia Tech at 11:30 a.m. on ESPN3. And then Florida is at South Carolina. That game is at 6:30. It's a night game on ESPN. And then Florida State is at home against North Carolina State. And that game is at 3 p.m. on the ACC network. Bethune-Cookman, they are at home against Alcorn State. And that game is on ESPN Plus at 11 o'clock. Do you know Bethune-Cookman has not won a game? They're like 0-8.
Well, they're having a rough time.
Rough time. 0-8. Bless their hearts. Yeah. And then FAMU is at Southern at 6 p.m. on ESPN Plus. We all know that FAMU beat Grambling last week at their homecoming, 26-3. We were all there and we saw it. And Byron have some pictures to put up. We had a good time. Enjoyed the parade. Byron, you guys were in the parade.
Yeah, so my son, we've been working with Ramon Alexander, he's a state house rep, and he has the distinguished young gentleman. So myself, my son, a couple of kids, they attended. This was one of their first events to be able to walk in the parade with their fellow DYG brothers. And we have 4 others, so we have 5 kids total. Actually, the induction to the DYG begins with 7th to 12th grade, but we're starting our own Jackson County chapter, and nice. We're the newest boys are all they're taking this year to grow and to polish themselves up within the organization, and they will be the face of Distinguished Young Gentlemen of America out in Jackson County. So that's a cool thing. It was very cool. I've learned a lesson that I hadn't learned in 20 years. So next time I go to the FAMU homecoming, I'm going to the set, and that's where I'm gonna chill and parlay at.
It was fun. My incoming freshman class of 1986 had a reunion, and so I got a chance to see my classmate, my roommate, and also some dorm mates, like some girls that we shared Cropper Hall. We were in Cropper Hall, and it's torn down now. But so it was good to see some of the ladies and gentlemen that I went to college when I started at FAMU in 1986. So that was good. And then, of course, the game. So it just was good to be. I had been to homecoming in a while, so it was just good it's been about maybe 3 or 4 years. Maybe, yeah.
Oh,
so
86.
Good to see it. Yeah, 86,
it was just man. You was one of them planet.
Yeah.
Rock,
86.
Yeah. You was. Yeah, you get it in.
Incoming freshman class couldn't tell us nothing. We were just, especially my crew. So, but it was good. So, but yeah, that's where. So we got pictures. Hope you guys enjoy them. They're also. I get you have them on the screen. You can look at them. So. And but that's it. So Byron, what do you have for I do want to mention this. The sports was brought to you. I want to mention Travis Russ at Marion Toyota. You guys go by and see Travis. He is a professional sales consultant at Marion Toyota. He can find you any car that you want. So see Travis Russ at 850-209-7051. give them a call, again, 850-709-7051, or go out and see them at Mariana Toyota at 2961 on Pennsylvania Avenue in Mariana. All right, what you have for entertainment?
Get one of them electric cars.
Yeah, tell them to find you one of those electric cars. And tell Travis we sent you. Bottom line with Roni Byron sent you, okay? That you heard us talk about him, okay?
All right. So
the top 10, Byron, we forgot your top 10.
Oh, yeah, top 10.
Yeah, you gotta put that on the screen. Georgia's number 1. Alabama has climbed back up to number 2. You see that? Alabama's number 2. 3 is Michigan State. 4 is Oregon. 5 is Ohio State. 6 is Cincinnati. 7 is Michigan. 8 is Oklahoma. 9 is Wake Forest. And number 10 is Notre Dame. That is the AP polls top 10 for week 10.
All right. Entertainment. Speaking of entertainment, we got some TV. Watch 2X TV. 2X TV is an off-beaten path streaming travel channel. Dale Cox and the 2X TV team take you on a digital adventure in Florida, Georgia, and Alabama with travel features and documentaries. You can watch 2X TV on YouTube, Roku, or 2xtv.com. That's 2xtv.com. All right, so another news, a cancer survivor, Tina Turner, 81. She's now been inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And she said, if they're still giving me awards at 81, I must have done something right. And she's exactly right. So I know in the past stories we talked about how she sold the rights to her music and everything for like, I want to say it was 51 million or 50 million. And that would, essentially go to her heirs and her kids. But Tina Turner, legend, icon, cancer survivor. She suffered from intestinal cancer back in 2016 and is cancer-free still to this day. She's had more accolades this weekend. She was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with the likes of Jay-Z, the Go-Go's, the Foo Fighters, Carole King, and Todd Rundgren. Tina, who currently lives in Switzerland, she was unable to attend the event, but she joined via video. And that's where she made the statement that if I'm still getting awards at 81, I must have done something right. She was inducted by actress Angela Bassett, who portrayed her in the 1993 film What's Love Got to Do With It. Yeah. So she said it.
Yeah, she looked just like her in the
movie. I mean, she played it. She played
it.
Did. And great job. She made a statement that that was one of the most demanding roles that she had ever played, but it was also the most fulfilling. I dare say that was probably one of the breakout. Although Angela Bassett did films before that, that was like her, that was her film. That was the one that really got her to that superstar status. She said that, like Tina, I was a little Black girl who had dreams far beyond what the world had expected of me. So it was a great moment. She had performances that spanned all genres of music. She had her and Keith Urban perform the tribute "It's Only Love." Bryan Adams, who wrote that song, originally duetted with Tina Turner in his 1984 album. I think it was "Reckless" was the name of it. Keith got stubbed. He got subbed in last minute because Brian couldn't. He tested positive for COVID. Mickey Guyton gave a heartfelt tribute of What's Love Got to Do With It, and Christina Aguilera, she did a performance on the hits River Deep and Mountain High. Nice. So that just lets you see how wide range of genres that she influenced. Mm-hmm. So I'm like her at 81. I hope to be motivating people like that and to inspire generations that span four decades, that's 5, nice. That's a lot, so in my next story, Dean Winters. So if those who don't know Dean Winters, if you're not a TV connoisseur like myself and watched the series Oz that was on HBO like some years back, he played in Oz, but he also played as the Allstate personality Mayhem. So he'd be talking and it might be a car crash or something like that, and he would be the actual reason why you'd crash. He played Mayhem. He revealed that he has been in constant pain since undergoing multiple amputations more than a decade ago. He's spoke to different, I think it was Page 6, and he said that I haven't taken a step since 2009 without being in pain. He's going through neuropathy, whole different levels, and he's just said that he's had times where he couldn't feel his hands or his feet. But if I stepped on a pebble, it's like I go through the roof. And believe it or not, he's 57 years old. Hard to believe that he's 57.
Wow.
But yeah, he says it's a very weird dichotomy. It's like it's very hard to figure out. Nothing you can do about it, he explained. But I've been sucking it up because the alternative is not a place that he wants to be. He has some new films coming out. Christmas versus the Walters with Paris Bravo, Shawnee Smith, Bruce Dern, Chris Elliott, and Nate Torrance. He's also going to be playing in the anticipated Peacock adaptation of the Netflix docuseries Tiger King. So I know during the pandemic, everybody got a little bit of that Tiger King. He's going to be playing Jeff Lowe, the bandana wearing Las Vegas loving businessman who partnered up with Joe Exotic. So they haven't put out when the premiere of Tiger King will come out on Peacock yet, but right now Christmas versus the Walters will be in theaters actually today. So there's no word yet still on that. Yeah, but hopefully he can find some type of a experimental, I don't know,
that has to be miserable.
Surgeries or something to. Yeah, he got like 2-3 fingers amputated in a gangrene incident. So, but into my last story, it may be lighter or humorous for those, but Kanye strikes again. Oh, as you were, Ye strikes again. He went from changing his name to branding a interesting haircut. Now he's wearing eyebrows off. He's no eyebrows. He's wearing Whoopi Goldberg on us. So since we reported that one, I'm gonna show that picture to you guys. So yes, it's true. Ye's fashion. He just may be setting a new trend. A lot of people thinking, hey, is he going through something? Mental? Is he having a breakdown? And some people say, hey, this is just Ye doing Ye and just trying to break, another barrier. I don't know. But at his debut of his Sunday service, I'm gonna let the image show for itself. So
that's
shout out to Kanye.
Pretty interesting, Byron. Pretty interesting. So yeah.
So that's entertainment. Once again, speaking of entertainment, speaking of TV, 2Egg TV. 2Egg TV is an off beaten path streaming travel channel. Dale Cox and the 2Egg TV team take you on digital adventures throughout Florida, Georgia, and Alabama with travel features and documentaries. You can watch 2Egg TV on YouTube, Roku, and 2eggtv.com. That's 2Egg TV.
Okay. All right. So we'll move on to our relationship T segment. And the topic today is, how well do you balance life, work, and play? So, it is a balancing act. It really is. Some people do better than others, but we all must find that balance between, life, work, and play. I mean, we have to live, we have our, home life. We have things that we're, have committed to doing in the community or, just amongst ourselves with a family. And then you have to work. Most of us work in some capacity. But you have to find that time to play where you're just either relaxing or you're doing something that you love to do and just having fun. I think that helps mentally. It helps physically as well because it alleviates stress. And so we just have to find that balance, Byron. We really do.
I mean, we just talked about it with the suicide rates and how the pandemic affected people. Some people, the balance of family was just a little too much on the scale at the time, and a lot of us was like, man, I can't wait to go back to work, sometimes it could do it. So it's very important, especially in our communities.
But Barry, I think people have to get to the point where you make an effort to have fun. Like you make an effort, whether it's your family, whether it's you and your significant other, your husband, your mate, your kids, you have to. And these days, I'm be honest, it's a planned thing to have fun. If you're not, my family's just kind of crazy in a way. Like we laugh a lot. just at each other in the house, just bust out laughing, but because I'm a comedian, just when I'm not, and I don't even know I'm funny and they're laughing at me. But and my husband's the same way. So, but we're just like that. But I know everybody's not like that. So you do have to make an effort to have fun. You do have to. Now we do have to plan, like we have date nights or family nights, or we have to plan to do something to relieve the hustle and the bustle, because he's going one way, I'm going a different way, Keislin's going a different way. We have so much going on. And you do have to find that balance between life, between work and play. I mean, I'm going to say this, it's really shows in our health. I'm be honest with you, when that stuff is out of balance, it comes up in our health. And I'm going to just say it is true. And so I've even had to just kind of, and it's still a work in progress, just kind of balance some things out. Sometimes I have to tell people, no, I don't want to do that. I just don't, I try to alleviate obligations now. So if you're one of those people, I've told that's why I'm trying to take care of me, try to really, alleviate obligations. I just want to, as my aunt used to say, I'm just trying to live. And I just want to be at peace, and I just want to have a balanced life. So, and that's work. So if you probably ask anybody that's lived more than 100 years old or right at 100, and most time that the surveys say, they'll say, I don't worry about anything, and I just live, I just have fun.
That's why it's always good to have a personality like that wild or funny friend or family member, because you need them. And if you're not able to, that's our biggest problem. A lot of times you can plan things out and then everything don't go as planned. That's okay. Make the best of a situation. You may not be able to go to Dave and Buster's today, so let's break out a game board, or,
a game. I'll go outside and play tag or something, or just do something that's not costly or whatever. You can always, like you said, bring out a card game, or I think a cards Uno or something, or we're creative people. You know what I mean by that? We make our own what's the name of the game where you're acting stuff out? Charades. We create charades. I mean,
red light, green light, mother may I.
We make our own stuff. We know what we're talking about. We create our own fun. So I think we can't gather like we want to, and that's okay. So with the ones that are around you, we just have to make the best of that. So but that's what, find that balance. That's what I encourage everybody to do. And it is a work in progress. So just make an effort to find that balance, and to be happy and to laugh and to have fun, just to have fun. And post it. How about we do this for the rest of November? Let's just post, you or your family, your friends on, and tag us. I think you can tag us or reference us, Bottom Line with Roni Byron. Video pictures, TikTok videos, that's fun. I love to see those. So, but let's do that. All right, everybody, thank you again for watching Bottom Line with Roni Byron. We thank all of our supporters. We really appreciate you for taking the time out to watch the show. We try to air it several times, so we'll make sure that you have the proper time to watch it at your convenience. So again, thank you for watching. And remember, when you know the truth, you can speak the truth. And the light shines brighter when it shines for two. We'll see you next week.
Peace.